Well, so here you are, back yet again at Red Tool House. Whoopity-doo. Oh, that's the most terrible attitude to have. Sometimes I don't even want to start the camera because it's just one of those days. And today is one of those days. And it's actually my birthday too, so it's just craptastic birthday. So no, the reason why things are going sideways, let me preface this video, is because there's nobody else to blame but this guy in his inability to get organized. So come along, I'll try to explain what in the world has got me so frustrated today. So here's the raw, seedy underbelly of homesteading, I guess, at least from our perspective. So this week's video should have been a video on milling the first posts of my timber frame project. But let me complain about the things I can't control because, you know, that's so fruitful. But it rained nonstop for 5 days. I mean, I thought I was going to have to change my project to an ark. It would not stop raining. We had a lot of flooding around our area, bad storms, all those things, just crazy. So obviously not firing up the mill in that. But now to the things I can control. If you look here, this beautiful gem that you see is kind of where I tried to collect all the things to do all the things that I think I need or like or should be doing. If that makes any sense. And it's just really come to light here when I'm trying to figure out where am I actually going to do my timber frame joinery. You'd like to be inside, you'd like to be somewhere where you can level up your beams, work on a nice platform, have light, that way if you go past dark, you can still keep working and of course keep your tools dry. So what do I think of? Well, you have a 24 by 32 wood shop. There ain't no way you're getting a beam in that thing. So I thought, well, the next best thing is maybe where I park the tractor in the barn. And so I come to the barn and think, well, if I'm going to leave beams in there to work on, I probably ought to straighten up a little bit so I can park the tractor over here in the other bay. And that's where the joke really lies. So let me show you something. So I think my problem is, and you say, wait a minute, Troy, you only have one? No, fair point. I think my biggest problem is, along this topic, is I'm trying to do too much. And to do things, it requires material, it requires tools, and I guess it requires a lot of just worthless junk too. So in this barn, just looking around, we've got 6 mountain bikes. We've got some construction equipment. There's an old pressure tank from a well, because you may need a pressure tank at some point. We've got multiple cages for moving livestock around, buckets and totes, because you need to bucket and tote things, of course. Hoses, more buckets, barrels, about 40 gallons of used motor oil, an old camper stove, various electrical, various plumbing components, 6-inch chipper, a toilet. Let's see what else. Oh, there's another mountain bike, wheelbarrow, 2 French doors that have been sitting there for the last 15 years because at some point I got to have a door somewhere and they have to be French. Oh, let's see, an axle, casket dollies, sprayer, bike rack, auger, and then various fuel things. Over here at this ridiculous eyesore, drives Kelly crazy. Now it's to the point where it's just driving me crazy. This is the accumulation of what I'm trying to do for scrapping. So things that I find, things that break. This is our mailbox. They got nailed by a tree in one of the storms, pancaked it. Only structure in like a little half-acre meadow, and a tree falls right on top of the mailbox. So these are the things that should be taken to scrap when I get a trailer's worth to haul off. It looks absolutely terrible here, but this is really the only place I have to put it, close by where I can back the truck and trailer up. So it's like everything just funnels to one spot, and that one spot is where I'm trying to do my work. So why have I dragged you guys along in this video? And if you're still with me with all this negativity, I'm impressed. Either that or you're a sadist. Well, I'm trying to figure out how to manage and to organize things. There's things that I have that I think I'm going to use at some point, and I just can't bring myself to get rid of them. So swing back over here. Such as this really nice commercial stainless steel sink that would be perfect for chicken processing if I had a chicken processing building. In my mind, I plan on building one of those. I'll probably be too old to process chickens at that point. Here's a wood-burning stove that my grandfather built from scratch. I want to use that somewhere, but there again, I have to build a building first to put that in. Our kayaks from camp, that should probably be up at camp because it looks like the birds and the mice are building nests inside them. But what I did, and you'll see here in this time-lapse footage, I tried to drag everything out so I could get a fresh start and see what needed to stay and what needed to go away. And I still am having a hard time with that. So two big things I took out were these toolboxes. And they're toolboxes that go underneath military trucks. It's a long story as to how I got them, but I got them and now it's time to go. They've served their purpose here. They're just taking up space. I then have concrete mixer that my dad purchased when I was a little kid. So I want to keep that dry. And of course that wood burning stove. So I brought those things back in thinking that I should be able to have enough room to set up my workhorses for timber framing in here. But just lugging things in, lugging things out, not having enough space to turn around in this spot because of just the way the topography of our land is, all the junk piled up, kept backing over things. Just little things working against me. Dropped that wood stove on my foot twice. It's just one of those days you just think, I need to go to the house and take a nap and feel better tomorrow. But we will press on. We're actually going to try to get something done today. So I've got enough space here now. I'm going to go get my workhorse, sawhorses, whatever you want to call them, and set them in here, see if I can get them leveled up and just see what that's going to look like to bring beams in and be able to work on them. All right, so this is where I hope to do most of my timber frame joinery. And even with the kayaks overhead, I still have enough head clearance there, just barely. So I'm feeling uppity if I'm wearing high heels while I'm timber framing, then I'm going to be in trouble. But I think this is going to be a good place to do this. I've got some lights that I can set up. I've got some lights that I can hang. So if I'm out here, well, even like right now, it'd be nice to have extra lights just because the contrast is so great. Working on that end would be better. But if I had to work on this end, then we'd have a little bit of an issue. Also, I actually, believe it or not, I don't have any power in this section of the barn. The back of the workshop has power, but I don't have anything over here. So probably ought to run some electrical wire, maybe some conduit over here at some point to put some outlets, at least on some of these posts, so I can plug in there, because I will be using power. I'm not going to be doing it all traditional hand tools. So as for parking my tractor, I think I can back it in here and at least get the seat, the console, and most of the nose out of the direct rain. The very front of the tractor and the bucket will probably get wet, but I think I can back it here even with the implement on the back. And of course, since I don't have any beams or posts on the workhorses, I could just slide those back and park where I normally did. But I just want to make sure that I've that I don't keep doing what I've been doing, and that's just throwing stuff in here, piling it up. It's like I get accumulation of things and they end up here because I promised Kelly I won't junk up the house, the garage, those type of things. And so it becomes this big purge out of the garage where everything comes down and gets thrown in here, and then it just makes me more frustrated. So I am, as you can tell, I'm not an organization person, man. And I would love for somebody who has good organizational advice to give me some clues, give me some tips. So if you guys are super organized, let me know how you do it, especially when maybe you just throw a lot of things away, and that's what I can't bring myself to do. Let me give you an example. So right here behind me. I know I'm just rambling, but check this out. So I've had this heavy-duty box for years. I don't even remember where I got it. I didn't make it. It's got a little 4x4 skids, like a little pallet. Super heavy, 3/4 inch plywood, treated plywood. Very, very sturdy, and I even have a lid for it. And what I was using it for was when I was selling piglets, that would be a way that I could go out in the pasture, go up to the farrowing barn, grab the piglets, toss them in here, toss the lid on it, and bring them down to where people cars can get and be able to load them up. And that's all I've ever used it for. And I think it's been here 15 years, and I haven't sold piglets in probably 6, 7 years. But I've had that in the barn forever because I hate to see it get wet and rot away to nothing. Maybe it would make sense, since it's just less than one sheet of plywood and one 8-foot 4x4, that if I ever needed something like that again, I'd just rebuild it and light a fire in this thing. I don't know. That gets the important part out of the weather. Well, sorry for a depressing and short video, but is what it is, right? Well, hopefully this week we're not supposed to have as much rain, and hopefully I'll have a better attitude, and now I've got a workplace. So we'll continue with the timber frame project, and of course Kelly's got a lot of garden stuff going on, so she'll continue doing her stuff when she's ready. Well, I appreciate everybody watching. I pray you all have a great week. Take care.